Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Every time we get together with him, it is relatable. It's understandable. I get that sometimes it gets a little woo in some of the principles that are piloting us. We're piloting us, but some of the things that are inside of us that move us along. And today's going to be one of those things, but you're going to hear this and you're going to say, yeah, that's me. That's me. And essentially it comes down to, what are you holding on to that is holding you back? Is it worth it? Is it worth the fight? Lots to uncover here. He's an acceleration healing specialist and does that with many different modalities, including acupuncture, hypnotherapy. He's an intuitive, certainly a life coach, and so much more. And he is our professional of the year. He's Chris DiStefano, and he's back with us. How are you doing today?
Doing great. Thanks for having me, Steve. How are you?
Excited to talk about this because we just touched it a second before we got on here. And I'm like, I relate to it in so many different ways. And I think we all do. Not I think, I know we all do. Where should we start today?
I'm going to start with just a tiny bit of background on this. My trap was lifetime of depression, and so I was chasing spirituality. And I didn't want to horse around with like the kindergarten level stuff. I'm better than that. So I'm horsing around doing the advanced techniques. The advanced techniques don't work unless the foundation is strong. It's always build that strong foundation. So I went in circles, got things and lost them because I didn't have the balance and the presence to hold it. So put this into normal person with real life. We set a goal. I want to be, I'll use the example I told you. I had a patient yesterday who ran into an issue with a vendor, and for 8 months, these people did a horrible, horrible job. And he was told by a person who's a therapist to, just give them the insurance check, get it done, get it off his plate, and be happy, because now he won't be holding the anger. And I've been working with this guy for a while, and I've actually started the whole day with you're holding a lot in your body right now because the mental and the physical are completely related. Anyone that wants to challenge me, please do. Because it's in your own life. If you sit in traffic, you're going to be tense. So the mental and physical, and he's like, yeah, as a matter of fact. And then he brought up the story. And I said, okay, but do you think you really could let it go? And why do you have this pattern? What's underneath this pattern that you've had probably for your life where you feel like you have to get this retribution or hold on to it? Because as we all know, the Buddha said, holding on to a hot coal, what is it? If you point your finger at someone, you got 3 pointing back at you, or holding on to anger is like holding on to a hot coal. You're only hurting yourself, all that stuff. But I'm like, but how does this pattern serve you? And he gave me the right answer. Because all we are is surrounded by experts and people who claim and all. And so when we are asked something, and I say this to my patients, you lied to me, but you lied to yourself first. We want to give the right answer. We don't want to give the true answer. We don't want to admit to ourselves where we are. But until we're present with that, we can't move forward. We just keep getting knocked back to where we are until we say, hey, this is where I am. Now I'm going to work from here to move forward. And when he told me why he had the problem, he felt so much better because he was accepted and not judged and able to come clean with himself.
I completely relate to what you just said because the situation of the patient you're referring to sounds like a restoration company, an insurance check was provided, et cetera, et cetera.
Very similar.
I just dealt with that.
Yes.
I did. And comedy of errors with this company. They're getting well compensated by the insurance company. No wonder the rates for insurance are so high. And, sometimes I was a little bit triggered during the process to the point where they weren't even transparent with the estimates and all of that. And I nicely called them out on it. And I finally got an invoice 2 days ago, and I'm looking at it, and I replied to the email, and I'm thinking to myself, here we go again. They're just a horrible record keeping, just not a good company. I'm like, by the way, I already paid you a $500 deposit, and what you just sent me doesn't reflect that. Oh, okay, yeah, we'll take care of that and take that off. I got to send the check out today. This is like in real time, and you're talking
Yeah.
about a similar situation.
Literally, it's an insurance claim. Literally, eight
Same.
months of hell this poor guy went through.
Same. And I have a high deductible that I have to add to that. So that's the sting right there. And I'm just going to write it and let it go and send it off to the universe because this individual that works for the company is not doing his job. It'll come back and bite him. And I feel karma will come back to this whole company. There's going to be, and it is what it is. I already signed up for it. It doesn't do me any justice to marinate on it. I still have to pay the bill. It's not going to get me anywhere. I can shave a couple of bucks off here and there. Yeah, great, whatever. Um, I'm just letting it go. So I can
And
relate
that's
to it.
fair. For him, you see, I might seem like all, puppies and butterflies and rainbows and nonsense. But where he is, and I can totally relate, he has a very high work ethic. He
Me too.
holds himself to that ethic. And then to see
Same.
companies working horribly and abusing customers is an injustice.
Same
And
with me.
sometimes I can trust the world to deliver. And sometimes I have to be that agent. And I told him, because he's not going to let it go that easily. I said, write it all down in a letter. Send it to New York Consumer Protection. Send it to corporate. Send it to your insurance company. Send it to anyone you can think of. Because maybe nothing will happen. But now, because a lot of times the taking action step for a lot of people is the liberation.
100%. It's releasing it. It's the same thing as keeping a journal. You got it
Yes.
out of you, put it on paper, screen, whatever it may be. And I'm going to say this in this whole situation, and it's so interesting how it sounds pretty much exactly what I dealt with in the last couple of months. I can honestly say doing the work, if you will, the spiritual work, the energetic work, the shadow work, and all of that, I can let it go much easier. Like one moment, you could be in a fit of rage, like really, come on, and because of that work, 2 minutes later, whatever, go away. I'm on to the next thing. Here's your check. Go away. It hurt. I don't want to deal with you anymore. And then close that door and then move on. It does make a difference. That's where I'm going with that.
Steve, I'm going to blow your mind right now. You've known me long enough. Like a regular person hearing me is going to be like, this guy is so not grounded. I'm like the most grounded person I know.
You are.
And here's the really funny part. You see, what happens if we're following a consciousness model of reality? And we don't have to, but if we were, what you got in this experience is what I call the highest level shadow work. This is like facing a boss in a video game. Now you have the skills that you've honed through various other things in life. Now you get to encounter the opportunity with everything at stake in real life to see if you can use those skills. Or are you going to give yourself another opportunity? And by opportunity, I don't think I think you know what I mean.
Hmm. Well, I think it really comes down to, and I know it's a cliche, and I use it all the time, and the people around me as well. Trust the process. Just instead of worrying about all these things, it will all work out. My mom used to say that all the time. And back then I was like, typical teen, 20 something year old. Yeah, in my mind, I'd never say this to my mom, love her. You're old. What do you know? Yes, it'll all work out. I had a situation recently where there was some challenge there in a partnership that just side venture didn't work out. And yeah, it was a little challenging. I have to honestly tell you, in the end, where it was all settled, it swung back in my favor in such a major way. I'm laughing at it, and it's this week. I'm laughing at it. It's like, oh, look at that, how that happened. Because I just let it go. I just let it go.
And that's enormous. That's something I was it's a interesting topic. I'm about to make a video on it. How the rational mind is what locks us in a prison of despair, anxiety, depression, and fear. And when we're able to give up to trust of a bigger unknown, because
Yep.
the rational mind cannot process an unknown, when we're able to trust the process, when we're able to trust our world, when we're able to be like, wow, my prediction mechanisms are awesome and they're never right. When we're able to sit in that, then we're able to begin to be happy. We're able to begin to let go and allow it to come to us outside of our control. When we're able to loosen that control grip, trying to grasp the sky
Yep.
or water, we have to loosen the grip.
It's 100% true. And it comes back to, in my belief, one common denominator. We are wired to keep ourselves safe. So your patient, myself, that situation alone, where's the safety? They're trying to take my money. They don't deserve it. The money is my safety. That's mine. I'm trying to stay safe. That's important to me. So in the logical part, I guess the left brain is saying, whoa, wait a minute, that's not cool. That's that's your income and that's your safety. And now somebody wants to take it. I need to fight for it. Sometimes it's not worth the fight, and you just move on
Yep.
if you trust the process, because I believe most times it will work out.
Every time it does. It just sometimes isn't immediate or
Mm-mm.
obvious. Let's say, just throwing a hypothetical, and I'm not trying to jinx you, but let's say the whole partnership thing, you end up eating dirt. That's also working out because the next time you do one that's going to be bigger and better, you're going to have your ducks in a row. So a lot of times when I've had to eat dirt, I recognize it happened where I was. So that way, when I grow, I don't make the same mistake. Oh, that this is really, really important. This is a completely different topic, and I apologize for sidetrack,
No
total.
worries.
It hit me the other day. So, okay, how do you feel now compared to how you felt 10 years ago? Better, worse, or the same?
Better for
Good.
sure.
Because that is because you're growing, you're maturing. You see, what happens is, I noticed this the other day. I'm like, holy cow, because I saw this guy in India a few years back, and he's like, yeah, you're becoming adult, you're becoming grown up. And what I realized is most people stagnate at about 9 or 10 years old, mental, emotionally. Literally, the way therapy tells everyone is, oh, this happened to you as a child, therefore it defines you for your life. As opposed to us taking the reins and be like, I'm no longer defined by this. This is something that happened. It does not define me. When we take that ownership, we begin to grow. As we begin to learn who we are, define ourselves, explore ourselves, we grow. What happens is if the body continues to age, but we do not grow, there becomes a greater and greater disconnect. And that manifests as health problems and decay.
Mm.
But if we grow with it, I believe we enter into becoming, aging like a fine wine, getting complexity of notes, getting more in harmony with our bodies because we're learning how to do the dance.
It's almost as if we become superhumans when
Joe
both of those
Dispenza.
things, those two things, the body and the mind grow together as opposed to being out of whack. And I'm going to say this, it's always been said, and I want your feedback on this, Chris.
Yeah.
There's a lesson in everything. And I don't want to accept that many times. And a lot of times, like, well, why do I have to go through that just to learn a lesson? Why do we have to learn these damn lessons to do life? Well, in the situations I described personally, and even partnerships, my lesson this year is I pilot on trust and a handshake. I'm good. I've always done that. I have a level of integrity, and that's the way that's how I always piloted. Others don't see it that way. I'm not perfect. And sometimes we just assume that there's an understanding that this was the way it's supposed to go. But unless it's written down, signed, documented, even though it's a friend, that was my lesson in two situations. That's it. Got to be documented, signed off, agreed to, complete clarity. Um, so I learned a lesson there, and it was a hard one, but I got it. It's all good. But why is there a lesson in everything?
There's always a lesson. So here's the beautiful thing. I say this all the time. There's a few things I always say. I tell my patients, I cannot heal you. I can only help you to heal.
Mm,
Another thing I always say is the resistance is the pain. Because here's what happens. We have a continuity bias. And that has made me eat dirt a lot of times because I want to keep doing what I'm doing. That is safe and normal, even if it's uncomfortable. So I was speaking with a friend yesterday, and she's been operating on this old, decrepit computer that keeps giving her problems and barely works. And then her power supply, and I told her, I'm like, you need a new computer. It's like
mhm,
8 years old.
mm.
this thing's a museum piece. Her power supply dies. She can't even find one. She's hunting around. She finally gets a power supply, puts it in, and then the computer eats dirt like 3 days later, dead.
Mm-mm.
And I said to her, because you don't pay attention. This is a pattern in your life. We all have this pattern. This is a huge part of what you're describing too. I could describe it in my own stuff. Same thing. We all do it. We want to keep doing what we're doing. We'll stay in a toxic relationship because we're used to it. Devil, you know. We'll stay in a job because it's safe and normal. We'll continue a habit that's not serving us because it did when we were 7 years old. We're used to it. And so that continuity bias of let's keep doing, because the brain is inherently lazy. So it locks in a pattern so it could run autopilot on a script, as opposed to having to be present and do something different and relearn. So there's a huge biological underpinning to the continuity bias. We run a program. And then life says, hey, this isn't serving you. And it gives us an opportunity to learn. In my own case, I probably spat in the face of 20 or 30 opportunities until I had no choice and had to learn because it was unavoidable. Those are lessons that we usually don't want. Those are not fun opportunities.
Mm-hmm. Even in your friend, I can relate. I came from no money as a kid. My mom, single mom, raising two children. I would fix things, build things, taught myself electronics, did it all. And the computer situation of the person you're referring to, I can't tell you how many power supplies I replaced in computers and the same whole situation until I realized, and yes, I don't want to pay full price for computers. But how? So I started buying refurbished computers. I'm not even exaggerating. $175. We're on one right now, as a matter of fact. And I've got
That's
8 of them
awesome.
in this building right now. And they've been running for years. And when they, crap out, it's not a big loss. And you know what? I think that sometimes a hard drive is fine. I put in another one and just instead of spending hundreds of dollars. So I get your friend, but then it was like, I got to
But
find
Steve,
a
that's
solution.
different because you have the aptitude to be able to repair it. She is all thumbs when it comes to it. So she has to I would have recommended she get a Mac. She got a Hewlett Packard because Mac tends to be, in my experience, easier.
I don't even, we don't have to go even there, but the point is the same where you hold on to things.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me fix it. Why should I buy a whole new one when I can fix it? Refurbished. That was my solution. I'm not suggesting that for everybody, but it
But
worked
yours
fine.
is your joy. It's not a toxic pattern. That pattern serves you
It's
because
my joy to find solutions electronically, technically.
it's a problem solving. It's a puzzle. It's a game.
Yeah.
For her, it's a vexation and a handicap and a hindrance.
I'll send her a link.
Steve, you might as well just hang a shingle right there. Make your background, Steve, computer fixer.
Yeah, and I don't fix them anymore, to a degree, because I don't have to. Because everything in life, I hate to say it, most everything in life nowadays is disposable. So why pay a lot? I can buy refurbished for 100, sometimes $150, and be done with it, and get 3-5 years out of it. Who knows? And it's warranted too. We hold on to things, don't we? And I don't mean objects, just that.
Everything. The
Everything.
continuity bias.
Yeah.
Change is work.
Fear.
And there's fear associated. Yeah. And a lot like, circling back to where we started, a lot like my patient, he wouldn't even see his own pattern clearly because there's judgment associated with him being like, I have this pattern because I have a work ethic. These people are lousy workers. They should be held accountable because all of that stuff. He didn't want to say that. He didn't want to say because that's not polite. That's not okay in our world. Honesty is frowned upon.
Yeah. It's painful to even hear that, but it is. It's the truth. What's a starting point for a lot of us? If even, God willing, a lot of us realize some of these patterns and we're holding on to certain things. What would be a starting point to make a change?
Admit you're afraid.
Mm, that's
Honestly, that's the first thing is we're afraid. Fear is what underpins almost everything. There's a great book, Outwitting the Devil. Napoleon Hill. And it's him having a dialogue with the devil. It's from like 100 years ago. This book was not allowed to be published for about 80 years. And the dialogue with the devil is how these lesser natures become predominant through our programming. And underpinning all of it is a fear and a separation. Admitting we're afraid. We're afraid of social rejection. That's why we give a lying answer.
How do we admit it? It's one thing to be driving in your car and say, I'm afraid. I'm afraid of this situation. I'm afraid of, big one, abandonment. I'm afraid to be judged. I'm afraid to take that job. You
It's
can
very
do
simple,
that.
Steve.
What
Very, very
else?
simple. You're doing it. I believe I do it to a degree. I work on it. There is no authenticity without vulnerability. We have to begin to let ourselves not be seen as the character that we believe we're supposed to be. That destroys us, that eats us up inside it. It's
Truth.
poison. It's to begin to take little steps of vulnerability around other people. Don't go and spill all your beans to the next person you see, because that's not true to you. That's not in alignment with your belief systems. Start to expand the belief systems at a comfortable but uncomfortable pace. And that's through vulnerability. And that's authenticity.
Well, I'm going to say these words, and a lot of people I'm connected with, we all live by these words. And it's actually just two: embrace discomfort.
Yeah.
It's going to make you uncomfortable to admit that you're afraid. And you don't even have to say those words. You can do something that you were holding back on doing, and that is your admission of afraid, no matter what it is. Taking a new job, um, joining a club or a Facebook group where you can, hook. I'm afraid of, strangers. I don't know them. Then just do it. You're afraid to do. Then just do it. You could
I'm going
always
to give
not.
you a cheat code. Fear and excitement are the same thing. So that thing you've labeled as fear when you're about to take that step, reframe it as excitement. Because it's the same physical sensation with a different label put on it.
We're going to end on that because that is so powerful and
Have fun.
hard for many to process. But when you think about it, you're on that roller coaster, that big one.
Yeah.
You finally got the you know what to get on there and do it. Massive fear, but oh my gosh, how exciting that was.
And think about how you felt on that line. That's the fear and excitement. Same thing. When you're waiting to get on for the first time, sweaty palms, all fear and excitement.
I'm laughing inside because it's so cool to look at it that way. Like seriously, think of everything. I'm gonna I'm gonna
I just
illustrate,
blew your world.
but I've lived it, and I'm gonna
I
illustrate your
know.
point, and I'm gonna make it very, very short here. Um, I would have a fear of blood tests I revealed, in previous podcasts, fear of, medical procedures, whatever, reframed it in the last year to the point now where I'm excited to go to see how I'm going to react. I'm excited to see how much pain there might be. There's probably not going to be any, but I'm excited to find out. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. And I went, a couple of biopsy skin cancer last week, and I was like, he's like, yeah, let's do this. And I'm like, all right, yeah. And lobs a couple things off, all good. And I'm like, I don't feel a thing. But I was excited to find out if I would.
Yeah.
That is a cheat code. That is a cheat code. How do we connect with you, Chris? If somebody's trying to figure this stuff out, what's the best way?
Easiest way would be scarsdalehealth.com. That's my acupuncture site. That's the other site is work in progress. It's almost done. So Scarsdale Health for the moment is the best way to find me.
Fear can be exciting. Fear is exciting.
What do people do for entertainment? Think of the movies.
Go to horror movies.
Yeah.
Thank you for today.
Thank you, Steve.
Awesome. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.